The book of Second Corinthians is the eighth book in the New Testament of the Bible and is believed to have been written by the Apostle Paul to the church in Corinth, a wealthy and influential city in Greece, around 55-56 AD. This letter is a follow-up to 1 Corinthians and is one of the 13 letters that Paul wrote to the early Christian churches. The letter begins with Paul expressing his gratitude for the Corinthians at obedience and support despite facing trials and tribulations. He also defends his ministry and apostleship as some false teachers had been undermining his authority. Paul reminds them that he is a true servant of God and his ministry is through the grace of God. He then goes on to discuss the theme of suffering and consolation throughout the letter. Paul states that suffering is a part of being a Christian and is meant to bring us closer to God. He shares his personal experiences of suffering, such as being imprisoned and facing death, but also how God has always been there to comfort and strengthen him. He encourages the Corinthians to have faith and trust in God in times of trial, as he will always provide us with the strength to endure. The next major theme in the book is reconciliation. Paul addresses the issue of division within the Corinthian church and urges them to reconcile with each other and with God. He reminds them that they are all part of the same body of Christ and should work together in harmony. Paul also emphasizes the importance of forgiveness and encourages the Corinthians to forgive those who have wronged them, just as God forgives us. Paul also discusses the importance of giving generously to those in need. He shares how the Macedonian churches, despite their own poverty, have given generously to help the poor in Jerusalem. He emphasizes that giving should be done willingly and out of love, not out of obligation, or with the expectation of receiving something in return. He wants the Corinthians to understand that true generosity comes from the heart and is a reflection of God's love for us. Another significant theme in 2 Corinthians is the ministry of the New Covenant. Paul explains that the New Covenant, or the new way of living through faith in Jesus Christ, is superior to the Old Covenant of the law. He points out that the law only brought condemnation and death, but the New Covenant brings life and righteousness. He also explains that the ministry of the New Covenant is one of reconciliation, and it is through Jesus at death and resurrection that we can be reconciled to God and to one another. Paul also defends his credibility as an apostle and his ministry of spreading the gospel. He addresses the accusations of false teachers who were questioning his authority and credentials. Paul explains that his suffering and persecution are proof of his dedication and faith in the gospel. He also shares his visions and revelations from God, which further affirm his apostleship. The final chapters of 2 Corinthians focus on the collection for the poor in Jerusalem. Paul encourages the Corinthians to fulfill their promise of giving generously and emphasizes the importance of unity among the churches. He also warns them against false teachings and false apostles who may try to deceive them. In conclusion, the book of 2 Corinthians is a letter filled with Paul's personal reflections, exhortations, and teachings to the Corinthian church. He addresses different issues and themes such as suffering, reconciliation, generosity, the new covenant, his apostleship, and the collection for the poor. This letter serves as a reminder of the importance of faith, love, and unity within the Christian community and how they should strive to imitate Christ in all aspects of their lives.